everyone, and welcome back to the Hold On Till Dawn podcast. I'm your host, Erin, and today we have a special guest returning. It's Nicole Van Bramer.
Uh,
Hi!
Hi, what's up?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
No, it's my microphone. I have like a light shining in my face, and I had a facial today, so my face is like so shiny. Uh,
Uh,
Thank
what's
you
up?
for being here today.
Of course.
You recently joined the Berkshire chapter of the AFSP. Can you talk a little bit about how you got into that and what it's been like for you being a part of it?
So I actually reached out to, what was her name? Heather. And Heather contacted me. So we have our own little thing. It's called the Berkshire Coalition um, for Suicide Prevention. And so it's like our own little county thing for suicide prevention. We do a lot of things. Like right now, we have a thing called Purgatory Road. And this weekend actually is a kid friendly one where like you take a hay ride and you get to do like all of these like bobbing for apples and like carving, pumpkin carving and like face painting and all this stuff. And then when it gets closer to Halloween, we have a purgatory road where like it's a haunted hay ride and people come out and scare you and stuff. And all of the proceeds, like the admission tickets, are like $15 a piece or something like that. And all the admission goes towards the Berkshire Coalition of Suicide Prevention. So, yeah, I co-ran the walk this year, and then they just asked me, I'm on the board for it now too. So they just asked me to run it next year, like to run the whole walk.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's so
yeah, I'm
awesome.
excited about that one. Um,
Congrats.
yeah, so that's going to be a big undertaking, but I think I can do it. I know like kind of the basis now and what I want to do versus what I don't want to do and stuff like that. So I think it will be good. And then the vice president's going to help me out with a lot of stuff, but yeah, I'll be able to do because they know that the walk is one of the things that I enjoy the most. So they're like, yeah, you can be in charge of that one. I'm like, okay, cool. I
That
love
is amazing.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. So we'll have to pick a date and time and stuff and when it is. So I'm going to shoot for September because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Remember,
And I'm going to come next year. I'm
yes,
really sorry about,
you have to come this year.
I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to come this
Hey,
year.
the turnout was weird because I think the weather was bad and it was like kind of rainy. It was like cold, not cold, but it was like rainy and then it was cloudy and we didn't know if it was going to pop up. And then where we do it, we had a farmer's market too. It goes to like the end of October. So we
Hmm.
had a farmer's market going on. And then we had another event. And then we had to be out by 1 o'clock because another event was coming in. So it was just
Okay.
a hot mess that day. So it was like hot and cold of things like that worked out and stuff like that.
Was it in a small, well, I think I've been to the Berkshires before. Is where the walk was in a small part of town? Like, is it a small area and that's why there was so much going on? Or is
It's
it just,
like, yeah, it's like the main part of town. So it's called the Commons. And it's where like everybody goes in the summertime. Like they have a playground and in the summer they have a splash pad and all of this stuff. Um and like all of the main things that happen always go into the Commons. So I think that's why we had so many activities going on.
okay.
But I'm hoping
Uh,
for a turnout next year.
Wait, what'd you say? Sorry, I cut you off.
For a better turnout next year. Hopefully the weather will be better and stuff like that. Because, you know, it's usually like a rain or shine kind of thing, and you don't really want to walk in the rain.
Yeah.
And
Um,
this year that we took was so out of whack. I totally want to change that we're going to. It was crazy. We had to, I'm not downing it or anything. Um, but we have like this little small Dunkin' Donuts and it was a Saturday morning. And so like the Dunkin' Donuts line like wraps around the building.
Yeah.
We had to like walk through traffic. We had to have somebody stop traffic. We were weaving in and out of cars. It was just like a hot mess. I need to get like a place, like the first place that I ever did the walk. It was our Berkshire Community College. It was right up the road from us. And they just had this big old track. You just have to walk the track and like do a couple of laps, call it a mile, whatever. I think it would be easier than having to weave in and out of traffic and cars and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And the sidewalk is uneven and stuff, so you don't want that. You don't want people to get hurt. You want people to have fun. And
Right.
when you're walking with somebody, you want to be able to talk to them, not have them back to you and be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, hey, what's going on?"
Yeah. The Annapolis walk was, so it started at the Navy Memorial Stadium, and then we went through the parking lot and then down to the street, and yet we had to cross the street to get to the other side, and there was like no copper there, or copper. There was no cop or anything there. And I'm used to the Philly walk is so big that we have like police detail like
Right.
everywhere blocking things off. So we would be crossing the street, and then when there would be like enough cars, we stopped and we let them all go, and then we would start crossing again. And I was like, this is a flawed system. Like,
Yeah.
what? Why
And
is there
just
nobody like
that
blocking this?
it's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I get it. That's one of my biggest things that I want to change about the walk is location wise of where it is.
Yeah, a more fluid and successful route will
Right.
make a
And
huge difference.
the vendors and stuff because people are there for the farmers market and stuff, but like for the actual walk, I got to figure out like what else to do because what's going on isn't really working.
Well,
Crazy.
good. You have a whole year to work on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited.
Is there anything else that you're doing with the chapter like in between then and now?
As of right now, I don't think so. We have like a little sheet that goes on, lets us know what activities we do. September was obviously a packed month, but just the Purgatory Road is what we have planned so far. And then I'm assuming we'll do something for the holidays because the holidays get very stressful and it works on your mental health. So I'm assuming that we'll do something for the holidays and to help out and stuff like that.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we touched on it briefly in the first episode, but we didn't go into depth. You had mentioned that you had heard about the AFSP from me, but I don't think you talked about why it was something that was important to you. So if you want to share like your story and why suicide prevention in the AFSP means a lot to you.
Yeah. So I think that's how we kind of like bonded was I remember I was still working at Payless and I remember I was trying to like put shoes away and I remember specifically like texting you on my like Virgin mobile phone being like, what's this walk that you're talking about? Because I had lost my uncle in 2012 and I'm like, oh my god, I want to do something about it. And you're like, oh my god, I had lost my father to this. And then I think that's just how we trauma bonded together. I really think that's what happened to us. But yeah, that's the main reason why I do it is because I lost my uncle. I was thinking about it today. It will be 12 years um the week before Thanksgiving. So I know Thanksgiving's like off this year, so it's like in the teens somewhere, like the 14th.
Okay. Yeah, Thanksgiving's late this year.
Like that, yeah. But it was like 3 days before Thanksgiving, so that was kind of rough. So Thanksgiving really kind of has never been the same, but I always wanted to do something for him because I never wanted anybody to feel the way that he felt that he felt like he couldn't go to anybody and that there was no way out. And I didn't want anybody else to feel the same way that he did. Whereas though it really sucks that he passed, it could bring something positive into it. And that's the reason why I do what I do, is because I don't want anybody to suffer again like that.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly why it's important to me too. It's like one of the most painful losses, losing someone and finding out that they are the ones that chose to end their life because they thought that. I remember the one thing my mom told me, which when I bring it up now, she's like, I don't even remember saying that, but I was like, this is in my brain. 6-year-old Erin lodged this in here and she knows that you said it. She basically said, like, daddy left us because he thought that we would be better off without him. Like, he thought, which maybe he didn't even think about us, because I also know that suicide, people that die by suicide are not always thinking about others. They're usually just thinking about themselves and ending their own pain.
So I
But
can't, and like what your mom went through having to tell a 6-year-old that,
yeah,
like
it's
that's
also like losing someone to suicide is hard enough, but when you become a single parent because of it and you are dealing with your own grief and your own emotions, just losing your partner, and then you have children that you have to be dealing with their grief as well. And it's like your kids are the most important thing in the world. So balancing that, I feel like that's got to be extremely difficult too, because I don't know how she was putting her kids first, but also trying to deal with this loss herself. And that's just like,
Mhm.
well, she's a very strong woman, and I took her for granted as a child, much like we all did with our parents, just like
Right,
not realize the sacrifice that they're making at the time. But then you get older and you're like, wow, I was ungrateful.
right. I a memory that sticks out in my mind is when my dad had his brain surgery, my sister wanted to go see 5 Seconds of Summer. And while my mom's dealing with my dad being 2.5 hours away
Oh, wow.
at UMass Memorial, she gets on and she buys 5 Seconds of Summer tickets for the year next, like the next year. We didn't even know what was going to happen, but
Oh, wow.
she is going ahead and buying 5 Seconds of Summer tickets. Like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, she's crazy. She's crazy. I don't know. I give her a lot of credit. I don't know how she did the things that she did, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of
Our,
a
our moms are really strong, and I don't
yeah,
even know if they know it, if they
right.
know how amazing and strong and
Yeah.
they
I think
are.
they don't know it until, you actually acknowledge it and be like, this is what you actually went through and you survived. I don't know how you did that
Mhm.
type of thing.
Catherine got like a fever of like over 102 one day. And my mom was like changing her diaper in the bathroom. And Catherine was like on the floor facing, we had like a window, like she was facing the window that kind of like looked out to the sky. And Catherine was 2. She'd probably just turned 2. And she literally pointed out the window and she was like, Daddy. And
Oh
my
my God.
mom was like, what? And she's pointing out the window and she said, Daddy. She's like, okay, he's here with us. Like, and I think she just said, like, tell Daddy I said hi. And Catherine is
Yeah.
connected to the spiritual world. Uh yeah, so
Be the
it's
one to bring your mom back. That.
yeah.
Oh boy. Of course, she's always been spiritual, so that doesn't shock me.
Yeah. I don't know if she still listens, but if you're listening, Catherine, hi. And I like sharing stories about my dad because it's how you keep their memory alive, the remembering the happy moments, not the one thing that their one terrible thing they did in this world to end it. Just remember who they were when they were happy, because that's who they really were.
I have a funny memory, but it's kind of stupid at the same time. But I can't. So my uncle used to come over like every Saturday or Sunday, and he used to hang out with my dad. And I remember I had like gone to like Six Flags or Great Escape the day before. It had been like a Friday for a field trip or something. And I remember sitting in my cellar bawling hysterically. And I'm like, I wish today was yesterday. And like, I couldn't get it past my brain that like it was another day and I can't relive it. So I remember we went to go get pizza and we picked up my uncle, and I'm sitting in the back of my car. I'm hysterically sobbing. And I remember him looking at my dad and he goes, "What's her problem?" And my dad just shrugged his shoulders. And they both rolled their eyes and laughed at me. It's like such a stupid memory, but it makes me laugh every time.
How
And
old were you?
I was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
Something around there. Yeah, I remember because there's like this pizza place that well, it's not a pizza place anymore, but I drive by it sometimes, and every time I see it, I always think about that. And then the birthday right before he died, I am obsessed with like collecting spoons. Like I
I didn't
probably
know that.
yeah. So my dad told my uncle that once, and he was cleaning out like I can't remember what it was, if he bought it at an antique shop or whatever, but it's like this soup spoon. And he was like, and he like wrapped it up and he gave it to me for my birthday. And I'm like, oh my God, you got me a spoon? And he was like, yeah, I mean, it's just a spoon. Spent like $3 on it, but whatever. And I was so excited because he got me a spoon, and he goes, it's the
Oh,
weirdest birthday gift I've ever given.
oh.
Yeah. I wanted to turn it into like a spoon ring or something, but I was always so afraid that somebody was going to mess it up. So I just have it sitting in one of my drawers.
What's a spoon ring?
They actually like they take the spoon part off. They cut it and then they make like the handle part, they wrap it and make it into a spoon. They make it into a ring.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
So I wanted to do that, but I was so afraid that, it was going to get lost in the mail or somebody was going to mess it up and then I would hate myself. So just in a little bag in my drawer.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's nice to think about your favorite memories. I was lucky that my dad was always videotaping, so a lot of the memories I have are because of that. I have 3 memories with him that are not on film, and I don't know how or why I remember them. They're just like little snippets, and
Mhm.
they're definitely for sure like morphed, muddled, not correct. Like some of them are a little bit weird. Like one of them I remember going to acupuncture with him, but in my memory, I'm sitting in the waiting room and everybody has needles in them. So like that's for sure that was not the case. I probably went into the room with him after being in the waiting room, saw that he had needles in him, and then I just like combined the two things. I don't know. And then another one I have is going to a field in Cambridge and like playing baseball or something. And then the other one is when he picked my friend and I up from dance. My dance studio was literally down the street, like on the same road I lived on.
Mhm.
And she lived, so it was like dance studio, our house, her house. She lived at the total opposite end. Like dance studio was this end, her house was this end, and my house was in the middle. And he picked us up and he pulled in the driveway of our house. And the two of us like looked at each other and were like, are we having a sleepover? And he like turned around and he's like, oh, I forgot she was here. So that was really funny. And those are the only 3 memories I have. And oh wait, no, I have a fourth memory when my mom and dad were so sunburnt that they were literally just laying in bed, and I popped their sunburn and like
Oh my God.
My mom's was on her back and my dad's was on his chest, and I literally was just like popping the bubbles. I don't know why they would have let me do that, but yeah, so those are my memories I have. Thankfully, I have home movies and there's a little
Right.
bit better memories on there, but yeah.
Right. Do your
And
kids sound like your videos?
what'd you say? Do they have sound?
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
that's
You
good.
can hear his voice. He had a very thick Boston accent.
Oh, did he?
It was, yeah, like if I had grown up with him around, my accent would be the worst. Like nobody in New Jersey would want to be near me.
It was that Boston, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to see if I can find a clip to send you. But yeah, the only thing I say still that people in New Jersey don't is water. Because in New Jersey they say wooder,
Yeah.
wooder,
Wooder.
wooder, like W-U, yeah, wooder.
That's weird.
Um, and I say aunt and uncle. In New Jersey they say aunt. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not an aunt, it's an aunt. There's a U in there.
Right, exactly.
Everyone thinks it's weird when I say aunt. Auntie.
Well, what about don't you guys have a different term for like grinders or whatever? Did you guys say grinder in
Hoagies.
Boston or no?
I always just said sub,
Sub, yeah.
but we don't say sub here, we say hoagie.
Yeah.
When I moved here, I'm like, what the hell is a hoagie?
Because Jersey Mike's is a hoagie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say grinder. Our southern friends used to be like, "What's a grinder?"
But yeah, there's certain words. I think it would have been fun if I got like a little bit of a Boston accent, because like I'm always telling people at work and they're like, "No way, you don't sound like you have one." I'm like, "No, it's because I never really developed one." Actually,
Right.
my home movies, when I'm like 4 and 5, I did have a pretty deep Boston accent. So yeah, I think it was my dad that like was the one that was giving me one. But then after he passed away, I just talked like my mom.
Right.
You're my first guest I've had on a second time.
Well, thanks for having me again. I
Thank you for
appreciate
being
it.
here.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. I do it again too.
It's always a fun time.
Always. And I get to FaceTime with you and see you.
Yeah, this is like the last time we haven't really talked since the last time I think we Zoomed.
Right. Yeah, we're constantly texting.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of it's Tuesday. I almost said Wednesday. Enjoy the
Yeah.
rest of your Tuesday.
Okay, you too. Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Our website is holdontildawn.com and our email is holdontildawn@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at holdontildawn and on Facebook at Hold On Till Dawn Benefit Concert. See you next time.